Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very, very, very special guest here. We have one of my inspirations is up here. Somebody that I look up to in the business world. Somebody I pocket watch, see how they got shit going. We have the legendary Stephen A. Smith came to fuck with us in the building. Yes, sir! Yes, sir! I thought he was gonna run!
Oh, my God.
I thought he would
you know
run.
Better.
But he didn't run.
See you, baby.
Stephen A., thank you for joining us.
Man, please, my pleasure, man. Anytime I've called you, you've always been there for me. It's the least I could do.
It's true. Double bed in Bristol. I hit
Right.
the road.
That's right.
Early morning
You
meetings.
absolutely did.
I came. I did.
Absolutely did. You came to Seaport too in New York City. You always been there, so I'm here.
Steve, why are you posting your first take stats with Skip Stats?
Well, you know what? It's not so much that, man. It's like you don't want to like rub it in or whatever. I got so much respect for him because obviously my career at First Take started because, you know, he brought me on. But, you know, facts are facts. And when you have not necessarily him, but so many people talking shit and misrepresenting what's going on, it's like, wait a minute, I thought we were about facts. And so it's like, this is what we're doing. This is what it is. And you know, when I sit up there, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it's, you know, sometimes it is a black thing. I've been First Take, you know, they were doing fine. They were doing all right when Skip had a potpourri of people coming on the show with him. But ESPN was defined by SportsCenter. And SportsCenter was the flagship. Skip asked me to come on board. I come on board in April of 2012. By May, we were number one. And we've been number one since May of 2012. And so just think about it. And I think that, you know, to answer the question just straight up and down, you got to remember, I started off in newspapers and I'm a columnist. And the reason why that was such a big deal to me is that when you're doing a column, that means you have a license to editorialize and give your opinion. If you're younger, you don't know the history of the newspaper industry before podcasts, before .com. It was radio, television, newspaper, magazines. And most black folks didn't have a license to give their opinions. You had to work your way up in order to do that. And so when I was named a sports columnist for the Philadelphia Inquirer in March of 2003, I was the 21st black in American history to be named a general sports columnist, which means only 20 people came before me that had a license to give their opinions. And so when I'm saying we understand as black people how difficult it is to get into that position. Well, I did it. And then not only did I did it, we transitioned to television, and then I'm number one there. And not only was I number one, I've been number one for damn near 12 years. And y'all acting like I'm just running my mouth. And I'm not talking about y'all, I'm just talking about people in the industry, trolls, whatever. And I'm like, nah, it ain't going down like that. That's not what happened. If you remember, I made news about a year and a half ago. ESPN made these layoffs. And it was this white dude from Sports Illustrated that was like, why they fired all of these people, but they kept Stephen A. And I was like, yo, I make money for the company. But I'm saying I make money. It's like it's not, they're not paying me because, oh, you got numbers. Well, my numbers generate revenue. Revenue is what pay for other people. And so I'm bringing in over $150 to $200 million to the company, and you talking about I should lose my job. I literally, everything in my power stopped. I mean, I remember I was on First Take one day, and I almost said the word motherfucker. And my words were gonna be, motherfucker, pay attention. You in this business, and see what pisses me off is that man had access to this business. He's in the business. He knew the numbers. He knew the facts, but he wouldn't tell. And so my point is, when I see folks doing podcasts and stuff like that, I get where cats are coming from if you don't know. You know, say if you're doing music, if you acting, and you're an actress, whatever the case may be, but you're not in that business, I'm good with you. You don't know what you don't know. There's a lot of stuff about y'all business I don't know. But in this business, I do know. And I knew that writer knew that. And I knew that some of the critics knew that. So I'm like, Why the hell ain't y'all saying so? So guess what? I'm going to be that dude that tells the world, because at some point, somebody going to get wise and tipped off to the fact that you do have that information and you keeping it from the public. Why? And that's why you hear me and you see me posting the stats or whatever. I've been number one. By a landslide for 12 years and counting. This is what we've done. Now, I could fall off the cliff tomorrow, but you can't take away what I did for the last 12 years.
Nope. That's a fact.
Indeed.
That's a fact.
I agree.
Yeah.
Now, when relationships break up, romantic relationships, I believe there to be like breakup etiquette, right?
Okay.
Like, okay, certain places that I know you like to go, maybe I won't go over there. Certain people you know that we was mutual friends, hey, maybe I won't be so. Maybe I won't speak to them as frequently as I used to, right? So the stat thing, I can understand.
Got it.
But the second that Shannon became available, and I like that you did this, by the way. I like that you, I make no qualm, I would like him over here. I like that for the business. But for the skip stuff, I was like, oh, no, that's a jab. That hurts. You're going to go after the co-host so soon. You didn't care.
I didn't look at it that way.
Got it.
I would have looked at it that way if Shannon left of his own volition. I'm telling you he didn't. I'm telling you he was pushed out.
That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Well, I'm telling you, and it's fact. Now, they can deny it. He wouldn't. I can promise you that. He was pushed out. He didn't want to leave. He was notified that your services would no longer be needed. But again, that's his story to tell.
Course.
But I'm telling you what I know. I'm giving you facts. And so when I saw that, it wasn't just that I know the brother's talented. It wasn't just that I know he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion and an NFL Hall of Famer. It wasn't just that I knew that he had been doing television the last 6 years. I saw me from the standpoint of I was let go in 2009 and left for dead. And they were writing my epitaph, and they were like, Stephen A's career's over. He blew it. He had the opportunity of a lifetime. He effed it up and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, there was nobody in the present day Stephen A. Smith's position as the guy in sports media, as the executive producer for the #1 sports morning show that could speak up for me at that time. And I said, this is why I'm here. It's my responsibility. So, it's nothing new. When you look at Swagoo, Marcus Spears, and you see his new contract, when you see Ryan Clark and all the things that he's doing, when you see a Kimberly Martin that was a NFL reporter and now she's on television, when you see a Monica McNutt and all this stuff, like, you know what? I'm at a point in time where if I don't want you on First Take, you ain't coming on First Take.
That's it.
And if I don't want you on First Take and you ain't coming on First Take, the likelihood is that you're going to have a problem getting on television, because that's the #1 morning show. And if Stephen A ain't feeling you for that show, why should we feel you for X, Y, and Z show? It's just a chain reaction. It's not that I have any sway over those other shows, but it's just a natural chain reaction. And so I knew the position that I was in, whether he came to First Take or not, it was important that I let the world know he still wanted. Because when they let me go, I was on the verge of being blackballed. I couldn't even get a job at BET or TV1. Me. It went from me making $1.3 million, having, quite frankly, from 2005 to 2007, to being on NBA Countdown during that same period and doing ESPN radio, to waking up one day and went from 4 jobs to 0. I was unemployed for damn near 10 months. In 2010, nobody would hire me. I could barely get an interview. And when something like that happens, obviously the belief is you're being blackballed. Okay? Do I have proof of that? No. My proof was the fact that no one would interview me.
And nobody's touching
Nobody's touching me. And so, when that happened, I remembered that feeling. And I remembered how people might have spoken up and say, we love Stephen A, blah, blah. But when I was unemployed, I didn't hear a positive word about me. I didn't hear anybody going front and center and saying, we want Stephen A. I saw none of that.
It was quiet.
And so what I wanted to do was, it's a different day. And I'm not gonna leave this brother out there hanging. I'm not willing to bring him on a show and sacrifice Ryan Clark, sacrifice Swagoo, Marcus Spears, even Mad Dog Russo, the Dan Orlovskis, the Mina Kimes, or Kimberly Martins, or anybody else, Kendrick Perkins, or anybody else. I'm not willing to sacrifice that. But if this brother's willing to come on board and be a part of that mix and a part of that family, welcome to the family. I went to the honchos. I said, I want him. They said, Steven, you know, we saw X, Y, and Z, got into an argument on the air. I said, don't worry about that. I said, he dealing with folks over there. Here, he would be dealing with me. I'm telling you, I got him. Let him come. And they were like, all right.
That cosign is very
all right,
important.
and that's what happened.
And even if he didn't come on your team, the fact that you gave him a welcome mat, he would have got picked up somewhere else.
Exactly, and that's exactly what my intent was.
Gotcha.
That's my responsibility, and that's why you'll see me. You know, listen, y'all got a podcast. You see, other cats in the industry. Club Shay Shay, that's Shannon Sharp's podcast. You see Ryan Clark and the Pivot. You see a whole bunch of stuff. What do you see me doing on the show, promoting it? Now, why would I do that? I got my own podcast. I'm doing my own thing because I don't want anybody to fail. I want us all to win. And I'm going to make sure that when people look at me, they know that I ain't just some black man. I'm a brother. And I'm going to look out as best as I possibly can. That's how I roll. It's not going to always be the most popular thing. I'm not going to always make friends that I'm doing it. It's not to say I'm not going to piss people off because they might disagree or whatever the case may be. But when you look at me and you look at my soul, at the end of the day, I'll put myself up next to anybody because I know where my heart lies.
New Joe Budden.